Welcome back to Online Darts, everyone. We are here in Wolverhampton and we've got the man himself, JP, the 3 times world champion, John Part. John, first of all, enjoying Wolverhampton?
Yeah, it's great being back as opposed to the behind the scenes in Coventry, or behind closed doors, I should say. Yeah, it's a tough thing that whole year we had, and it's good to be back in what is now the normal venue for Wolverhampton. I'm not too sure the future of which venue it'll be here, but yeah, it's great.
Looking ahead, the World Seniors is on the horizon. There's a lot of buzz and a lot of excitement in the UK around this, the fact that we're going to see all you former champions again. Looking forward to playing competitively again.
Oh yeah, I love competing just in general, and at any level. I'll play league at home now. I'm trying to get back. I had a bit of a shoulder and a muscle tear issue where it had me out not even throwing for like 8 months. So I'm happy to be just throwing A and B. Yeah, I love competing, that part of it, and I'm very happy where I am, and looking forward to any opportunities moving forward.
Returning to the Circus Tavern as well. Fond memories of that place. Arguably your biggest win of your career happened in that venue. What would it mean to go back there and play again?
Yeah, it probably that would have to be called the biggest win, and I would have to say, it's going to be strange going back there after all this time. And but I like that club setting, the bear pit. I like to think of it. It's sort of you're right in the mix and you hear everything, and it's good emotionally. You get charged a little differently. I think like musicians and bands and stuff, they oftentimes they'll do the stadium gigs, the big acts, and then they'll come back and they do the little clubs, and they quite enjoy that because it's just more like where they came from, and it's the same sort of exact situation.
Potentially renewing a rivalry with Mr. Phil Taylor as well, someone that you had many battles with over the years. I know he's looking forward to playing again.
Oh, I bet he is, yeah. He hasn't tasted blood for a while.
Are you looking forward to maybe renewing that rivalry on a stage with him again as well?
Oh, absolutely. The fun is, I know he does exhibitions and matches and things and this and that, so I'm joking about tasting blood again. I know he can play. But the one good thing for me is he hasn't played me for quite a while, and he never knew what to expect with me. He really had his way with me a lot more than I ever had success, but I did have some successes in big tournaments against him, and he knows that I could turn up and wreck his day. So that's fun for me, especially because he has no idea what to expect. I think I have more idea what to expect out of him than he does out of me.
The World Seniors, it's been talked about for many years, because when you guys drop off the tour, when you get to that age where you don't want to compete every single week, there's nowhere for you to go. So is this a huge step forward for the seniors as a whole to have a tour developing?
I like the concept, obviously, because I like playing, so yeah, biased. But I do. I mean, I can't see that there isn't a good market. If people want to see the players that were successful in the past, or even just that they knew in the past that they like to follow, that never stops. You're a fan of something, and then you like to see it go on. And with most sports, you do, because clubs stay the same, players change. But with ours, with golf and darts and individual sports, well, the players change, and that's what the basis of fanship is. So I think, yes, there's definitely a seniors tour market and for these sorts of things, because people want to continue to be fans of the players of their choice.
And as well, for the inaugural World Seniors that's coming up, the fact that everyone has got on board with it, all the names are still there, that hunger is still there from all you guys.
Yeah, looking at the qualifiers they had, and that, I think if anything, it's just a shame that it wasn't really realistic to aim bigger. But I think they could have had a bigger event, and I think with everything that happened with the amount of qualifiers and that, and hopefully the event goes off well, and subsequent events that they try to run go well as well, that we'll see a quick boost in the participation and maybe the size of these events.
That second event is also a very historic place, going back to Frimley Green, the lakeside again, somewhere where you know very, very well, nostalgia and memory lane.
Yeah.
Say Circus Tavern, lakeside doesn't get much better, does it?
It doesn't, and of course I was a complete rookie at Frimley Green when I won, and Yeah, it's a magical place for sure on its own as well, and I think it was the first darts venue we had that seemed like a big place. It has that good size to it that does credibility to the game's status, and that was one of the keys. I think of the darts growth in the '80s was having that venue. So yeah, it's great being back there.
No, absolutely. And looking forward, how big can the seniors get, do you think?
Yeah, well, going back to that, I think just because of the interest at the playing level that's been expressed, and now we just have to make sure there's ticket sales, fan support, lots of social media interplay. You can gauge these things like that, and finally, I think it's up to the players. We have a big responsibility to produce some good darts and to play well and to have good matches. So I guess we have to wait and see on that. And I wouldn't be surprised to see the really good darts, yeah.
We've seen all the players putting a lot of practice in as well. Is that important?
I don't know. I think some players are just doing it anyway, and yeah, I would hope nobody's just sitting at home thinking they'll turn up and play like Gary Anderson might do if he was in this side of it. But yeah, no. Yeah, I think that the practice is there. I think nobody wants to look bad. No one wants to get showing up. And I think with the format at the World Championship, where the top 8 have the bye, you're playing someone who's already won a match. You're in a bit of peril just from that. So, I think everyone's going to try and be as sharp as they can be for this.
A lot of players on the tour that are approaching that magical age as well, so it could be very competitive in the next 3 or 4 years. The likes of Gary Anderson, Peter Wright, Simon Whitlock, all approaching that age where they might start considering coming across.
Well, yes, and I guess as it's the birth of a tour, perhaps, I guess a lot of things depend on if the years go on with this. I mean, it's only speculation, but I guess how they structure a ranking system, qualification system for events as they go year to year, or does it just remain invitational with common sense? It is definitely an entertainment, and I think there's certain. So you want you just don't want to exclude anyone who's truly legendary. Maybe they're not as sharp as they were, but still you want that involvement. So, yeah, I mean, I think the executive portion of deciding things is very important in this, but I think also there will be a ranking table of such for qualifiers, etc., and that will develop. And I guess, as you say, like as people come off the tour, they might think. I'll go right into that. And, I don't know. Who knows even, like, if someone's struggling on the tour, if they just pack it in and then think they're just going to move into this. But I don't think, it'll get to the point where I don't think it's that easy. Yeah. I don't even know if it's that easy now. I mean, obviously, if Phil's involved, it's not going to be, I'll quit and go win all the events there. You'll never have that thought in anyone's head with Phil involved.
No, again, looking ahead at just darts in general now, you did a lot of commentary work and watched a lot of it behind closed doors. Now, do we feel we're at the other side and we're seeing the best of the players? Because the standard had dipped slightly where they were all cooped up and they weren't enjoying it, but now are we seeing the very best again?
Yeah, I really think that it's an interesting time. A real battle of a handful of guys for being a world number one, potentially. It does take a while for those numbers to change, but you can really struggle to kind of envision in a year's time who the world number one might be. It's just not clear cut, and there's a lot of guys that could sort of pull away from the pack, or the pack could just be the pack for quite a while. There might not be that pull away. We're so used to a clear and present number one that it's a concept we think there has to be one like that, but it might evolve that really nobody gets away from the pack anymore.
Speaking of that world number one battle, Garen Price looked invincible, but at the moment looking vulnerable again. And then the other side of the coin, Michael Van Gerwen was untouchable, form massively dipped, but now his rise is back. An intriguing little battle developing between those two.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Clayton wild card's kind of tough in there. It's a battle all around. I think it's almost reminds me of the old. I'm not into much of the wrestling these days, but it reminds me of these cage match things we're used to see in the past, and you don't know who's going to ambush who in any given event, and leave it wide open for someone else. So that's the aspect of our sport. It's a bracket system, tournaments, and. To say between MVG and Price, I'd say that's interesting if it was just the two of them for sure. It's even more interesting because it isn't. Yeah. But MVG does seem to me to be back and probably playing more confident right now than Gerwin. Just as we're halfway through this Grand Slam, saying that.
You touched on Johnny Clayton. A lot's been made of him winning a lot of unranked events and his ranking being false almost. Is that something that needs looking at, the balance between ranked and unranked tournaments, and is there an argument to almost rank everything to give the ranking a more even feel?
Well, maybe a two-tier system of ranking, like where you could have a top 16 ranking system, which would encompass everything. Because all of the guys that could potentially be in there are participating in most of those events, or at least getting a chance at one World Series here and there or something. So at least there's some balance to it, or maybe refine that even to a top 10. Top 10 are have a more in-depth ranking, and then you go back to the traditional for 11 down as they have it. You can't have where the lower players just are getting behind on money all the time against guys in the overall because they don't have the opportunity. That's just not fair. But if you restricted your in-depth ranking to the top 10 perhaps, then I think that's something where they could have sort of a double system, if you will. And I think it would be fair that way.
You've used both ranking systems, the money one and the points one. Which one do you prefer?
I guess I like the points. I liked the points at the time. I think points helped me because I was winning a lot of floor tournaments, and they weren't that much less than some of the televised ones. So I guess it depends how the points are allocated. I mean, because that point system, if reinstated, could be entirely different, where the very small points for a floor tournament. And so in any case, I just... either or, as long as it's fairly distributed, the money generally reflects the value. So it's probably a better system. But like I say, I just thought of a system where you have a two-tier thing. But I like that concept really as well because, I mean, we should be reflecting every event for the guys that play almost every event. And
for Canadian darts especially, we've got two tour card holders next year at the moment in Jeff Smith and Matt Campbell. Big breakthrough moment for darts in Canada to get more people on tour and coming over and playing.
It's tough. My last few years with the card killed me financially. Just if you're not getting a win on a weekend, it's $1.50 out, right? It's just so it's a killer, and I don't think either of the guys with the cards, Jeff and Matt, neither of them are going to be full-time here. They got family home, as I did, and they just get a commute and try and do it. And it's wonderful when it's working, if you're doing well and you're playing well, because then you can make the money. You can't keep doing it that way. And it's a really tough ask, and it's doable, but you have to be successful and pretty much out of the gate. I think Jeff had a great start to the year, and it allowed him to kind of stay in the mix and keep his card. But Matt, he's going to give it a go. I know he's capable as well, but we'll see. It's just not easy, full stop, the tour.
Darts in North America with the CDC really seems to be on the up now, and the standard seems to have risen a lot as well. Is that something you've noticed?
Yeah, definitely. the landscape's changed. A lot of the players they'd hoped in the initial years of the CDC would play that were maybe WDF affiliated more, they didn't really play as often, let's say, as maybe everyone would have liked to have that mix fully integrated. And I think over time, new faces sort of just started coming in with some talent and filling the void and fleshing it out of the guys that were committed to playing. So yeah, it's coming together. Clearly, the COVID thing was dire for this, in particular the CDC, especially because we have a border that was closed, which is right down the middle of our talent pool.
Yeah.
If not population pool, but the talent pool. So yeah, it was a major setback, and hopefully we can move past it 2022. But yeah, the pieces are in place for some very exciting play and the growth of the averages and such, the skill levels going up. I mean, I think a lot of the time you get out what you need to put in. You sort of play to a level, and I mean we talked about that with the ladies darts. We talk about that with the youth darts. Everything's about trying to play to a higher level than what you need to, and that's how you advance up the actual ladder of tours.
John, absolute pleasure sitting down and talking to you in Wolverhampton, mate. Thank you very, very much for your time.
Yeah, you're welcome, Phil. Yeah.